The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, because you know Dr. Joel Fuhrman is in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as you know, Dr. Fuhrman, world-renowned, best-selling, New York Times best-selling author, has been in the classroom since 2015. And since that time, we've been learning all about G-bombs. We've been learning all about optimal health. We've been learning about a Nutritarian lifestyle. And let me tell you, it's changed my life. But even though we learn so much from Dr. Fuhrman all the time, like 11 months out of the year, this one class today is Dr. Fuhrman sharing his best of, like, you got to get these best of 2021. We've done this now for like 2 or 3 years, and I really love getting more up close and personal with Dr. Fuhrman and seeing what are some of the things that he loves. So today we're not only going to enjoy some of the must-haves for Dr. Fuhrman for 2021, but we're also going to give away 4 of the weight loss, the 21 weight loss boot camp PDF. So 4 of you, your name's going to go in the winner's basket. And then on Monday, December 13th, we'll pick out 4 names out of the winner's basket, and I will contact you if you get selected or when you get selected. And the boot camp is January 3rd through the 23rd. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is here to do just that. Welcome back, Dr. Fuhrman.
Hi, Lily. Great to be here. This is to have fun with you on the air.
I know we get to have fun all the time, even off the air, on the air. But what's most important is the information, the fun information that we're learning from you day after day, month after month, year after year is life-changing information. Today, we're doing like your preferences, your must-haves that every year you learn a little bit more about a product and you get to use it. And now we get the insider scoop of your 2021 best picks. So let's get started, huh?
All righty. You know, some of these things might be narcissistically things that I just enjoy because I do things I like and fun things that I like, but it doesn't mean other people are going to utilize them or can benefit from them. But I figure I'll show a few of those things.
Okay.
You know, one is, I love to ski, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be safe on the slope. So I love this helmet. Let me show you my helmet I got, because the ski helmet has a face piece that snaps in place, and it protects your face as you are skiing. So now you can't get, if you hit against a tree or fall into something, you're totally protected from the elements, right? You're like in a spacesuit. You can, not cold, when you can actually put your turtleneck or you can put your coat up under this collar here. So it's really great, and you don't get fog or snow in your face. And if anyway, it's really cool, right?
I think it's good. You look like a Black Power Ranger or Darth Vader, one or the other. Which one do you prefer?
And this, I don't get hounded by the autograph seekers on the slope.
So
So I can take the bottom piece off, you can take the bottom piece off,
there you go.
of course, but it all fits together, so.
No,
just
so
that's-
that is actually attached to your helmet. What is the name of the helmet?
It's RURA, R-U, so it's all integrated. The goggles and the helmet are all this, make it so it all fits in perfectly and with no airspace to complete coverage. RUROC. For people who
Wow.
like to ski, it's a great safety feature because it protects your jaw and everything.
So what about the rest of your body? Do you also have an armor when you go skiing?
I do, because I protect myself. Like, for example, if you want to know, my ski boots have electronic heaters in them, so I can control it with a wire under the boots, not cold. But in my gloves, for example, the gloves have a battery pack, a lithium battery here. Look at that you charge this battery that snips into the glove.
Bring it up a little higher. There you go.
You see,
Oh,
you
nice.
plug the battery, it goes into the glove. So you can control the heat of your hands. But then the most important for safety is this piece that fits on the glove. You see, this is what
Ah.
so this is a thumb protector. It's like
Yes.
steel. You can
Yes.
see I can hit it with some. You see, it's
Yeah.
hard. So if you're skiing, you're like leaning, if you hit a rock face or you fall, your
try to
hand hits the
protect
ground,
yourself.
You can't, a lot of people, they call it skier's thumb. Used to be called gamekeeper's thumb, where people would be wrenching the necks of rabbits or chickens would hurt their thumbs. But now it's called skier's thumb because if your thumb gets on holding the pole and it hits the ground and pulls open, you like wrench open your hand. So this really makes it so your thumb can't go out, can't pull out, and it protects it from being hit. So
Yeah.
it gives you it really makes for the
So what are
safety.
the name of those gloves?
Well, the glove, this does not come with the glove. This is a piece you can put on any glove.
Oh, so
protect
you're
your
saying the
thumb.
piece. So can you show how it
The
looks?
glove is called Alt Heat, A-L-T Heat, which has the lithium batteries in the cuff to keep your hands at the temperature you want. But the piece that fits on the glove is called Level U, Level. And this is the piece that fits on any glove, I guess, to protect your thumb protector. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when you fall too, you tend to use your hands. I just have a friend that she
Right.
fell from the dog was like slurped up the water and she slipped and she used her hand and now she has a fractured hand. She has to wear a cast for like a thumb and for like 6 weeks or 4 weeks. And so that probably would protect you from falling, right? If you fall.
It's so great, because look, my hands are warm. And now
Mhm.
if I fall, my thumb is totally protected, locked in there,
Ins-
and I can still move it in a little bit to grab the pole, but I can't move it out so it can't get hurt. It can't go, it can't, and the top of it is protected so it can't get jammed,
So is this new for this year? I mean, is this your 2021 find?
I use this, no, I skied with this for the last 2 years, the thumb protector, you know what I mean? For the last
Ah.
few years.
Well, that's awesome. And again, what's the name of the thumb protector? Because there's probably going to be a lot of skiers that will want to get that.
The thumb protector is Level, Level. I think it's Level U here's something on the side. It says Inno Safety, INNO Safety. It says on the side of it, which may be the company name. I don't know, but
Yeah.
certainly.
Well, that's cool. And it has a nice little design on it to go with your Power Ranger head. And so you look like really cool out in the slopes.
Right.
Now, but if you hit a tree, your head, you're protecting your head. What about your whole body? Is there like, again, you got your thumb all good, but what about the rest of your body, your knees or anything like that? Do you ever have anything like that you use to protect the rest of your body?
No, but I have these stretchy long underwear that kind of like just gives a little cushion and protects you. Yeah, I'll show you.
A huge diaper. It's a huge diaper that he wears. That way you don't even have to worry about going to the bathroom. Yeah, so he's going to go get it. And so today's class is pre-recorded. So for those of you who are writing questions, I'll take your questions.
We shouldn't go on to skiing too much, but obviously these are like skiing.
How often do you go skiing?
Undergarments that you wear skiing that gives you some degree of protection. But then you have, and then for people who don't have the electric batteries, they make these hand warmers that you can put in your gloves. If you only ski once in a while. But to me, you got to keep buying these and you keep looking fine. But my kids use these, but of course I ski so much that it's better for me to just have the electric battery gloves.
Absolutely. And with the lithium batteries, those are great because lithium batteries, I have the Avasia product that's for pain management. And I only use lithium batteries in that because they work all the way till the bitter end, and then they stop. They don't lose their power. They just work all the way to the end, and then they stop.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
really
can just
good.
get new lithium batteries, and so you're not compromising the strength of it. So that's good. That's good that you have that consistency. Well,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so what else do you have?
Well, I could talk about food for a little bit,
Okay.
but I think I might have mentioned that, my favorite hobby now is growing vegetables and growing fruit trees. But even when I lived in New Jersey, I was growing fruit trees. I had pawpaw trees, which are incredible. They grow, it's like a mango that grows in the
What
northern
are they
climate.
called?
Pawpaw, P-A-W,
Pawpaw.
P-A-W.
Oh, I've heard of pawpaw. Okay.
But if you live in Florida or California, I can grow mango trees. But if you can't grow mango trees in a northern climate like Minnesota or New Jersey or New York, then grow pawpaw trees. But in any case, when you're growing trees, and I have peach trees and plum trees and nectarine trees, but in any case, this is the secret. It's a water meter. You've got to give the tree the right amount of water. You got to water it very heavily with a ton of water to soak the roots very deeply. And then don't water it for a long time until the water meter detects it's dry. So it's the frequent watering of trees that's not good. It's heavy watering that's infrequent, and using a water meter, because I'm growing a lot of citrus trees here in California too. And you have to prevent root rot. You want to let the roots dry out and not water it till they need to be watered. So you don't want to get too dry, but in any case, a water meter is obviously.
So how do you know,
critical.
how do you use that, Dr. Fuhrman? I mean, because it's called Dr. Meter. I saw the name on it. It's
It
called
says Dr. Meter, but there's different brands that look the same
Okay,
way. But
okay.
anyway, you stick it in the ground in the dirt. And people use this for indoor plants. You can't have indoor plants.
I'm about to start a garden. I'm about to start my garden, and I think that would be good for me because
And how do you take care of your indoor plants if you don't have a water meter to know that you're not overwatering them, or
Correct.
underwatering them, right?
Okay,
So
you
here
got
I
your
have a
money tree
plant.
there. You got your
So
money tree.
I would stick this in the water here, and now it's registers. It's not totally dry, but it's in the dry zone. This is a type of plant that doesn't require much water. So, but it's probably ready to be watered. I could read the water meter now that I stuck it in the ground. So you stick it in the ground, it tells you whether it's time to water the plant. If it showed a lot of wet, you shouldn't make the plant water it again.
So how do you know? Okay, so you said that plant has like it works better if it's drier, but there are others, like I have a lot of lilies in my home. I just love lilies. But so don't they like to be a little bit more moist? How do you know which one?
Usually the succulent type plants or the cactus type plants, the stuff with big bulbs and less leaves, more wood, need less water. Usually when you buy the plant, it'll usually have a little instruction card with it that says if it's a water loving plant or not. But specifically, that's when people kill the plant. They'll kill their plants by overwatering usually. Yeah. This prevents you from overwatering. Very critical here.
Okay.
And then I've talked about last year too, probably that so many people, probably 60% of people are pronated. And they need some orthotics in there, buy a good footwear. I use the Hoka shoes now, which have such great cushioning. The Hoka Bondi I wear is for running and walking. But in any case, I take out the liner and I use this Power Step Pinnacle Max that helps my foot in the right position. But, I sometimes take the liner that's in the shoe, pull it out, and I cut a piece of the liner that was in the shoe, and I glue it with contact cement on the inner border of the Power Step Pinnacle Max to enhance the arch support, to lift it up, to give me more medial support, so it gives me even more support than is in the Power Step without that corrective. And I utilize for some patients and people that are hair that are significantly pronated. I buy these, they're very inexpensive. These rubber inner heel wedges, you can see it's thicker on the inside, thinner on the outside. It's a wedge that I can put in the heel. So now I can use this wedge, glue it in the shoe with rubber cement. No, I won't use rubber cement. I'll use contact cement because contact cement is more permanent. Rubber cement is good for a beginner so they can glue it in place. And if they don't like the way it feels or the way they place it right, they can pull it out because rubber cement allows you to pull it off. It doesn't stick as hard, but using contact cement, once it's really stuck down, they can have a hard time pulling it out. So they should probably use rubber cement and make sure if they like it and it's good, then they can always add contact cement. They could rub the rubber cement off with their finger and use the contact cement to make it a more permanent bond. But rubber cement and contact cements are flexible, so they allow the bond not to crack. So you don't use like crazy glue or Gorilla Glue. You use contact cement, which is a flexible bond. But in any case,
how do you know your knees are pronated or your ankles are pronated? How do you know that you need that extra arch support? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, because if the way your foot is positioned when it's non-weight bearing, if as you weight bear and put your weight on it,
Listen.
if the ankle shifts inward as you weight bear, then you can know you're not staying in neutral position. Your neutral position is the foot positioned without weight on it. So here I can show you, for example, because I have significant pronation. So here's my foot.
Lower, there you go.
So here's my foot. That's in neutral alignment, not weight bearing. If I put weight on it, it'll turn in like this.
Correct.
And so the twisting of this.
So you want to keep it up.
You want to keep it in the position it was before you weight bore. If you stand up and nothing changes, if I put weight on it and that's the position it's held in, then you're in alignment. And as you stand up, if it twists in, if I was standing and not kneeling, my kneecap would turn inward. My kneecap and my tibia would rotate inward as my ankle falls in.
Correct.
And so we want people to actually walk with us. Some people walk with their feet out. We teach them to walk with a little bit with their toes forward, a little bit pigeon-toed, walking on the outer borders of their feet, developing those muscles that hold their arches up for better posture, less wear and tear in their knees, and less hip and back pain. So the orthotics, of course, complement that. We want them to walk in sand and to not rely on the orthotics 100% to hold them. We want them to sometimes walk barefoot, holding themselves with conscious thought in the right position, especially walking with sand, but walking in soft materials. But then, of course, using the orthotic, because most of the time they're not going to be focusing, and with the wear and tear over the years of letting you turn in with every step, and the knee rotates inward with every step, it ages your joints and allows you to develop more medial condyle osteoarthritic loss of the cartilage between your inside of your knees.
That's interesting. And I know that when I was younger, I used to be a dancer on point. And so because they started me on point too soon, my ankles tend to roll in. So that is something that I would need to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's because they started you on point too soon. You could have, the ankles, it's more of inherited kind of thing.
Oh, really?
You know
It's not, it's what the doctor had said, that my ankles had not matured yet or whatever, before I put too much pressure on it.
That's not good for your certain joints, but it's not going to make the pronation occur because you were on point too soon.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well,
I position this now on the floor, let's say on the floor back here. You can, here's my
Go
foot.
back a little bit more. Go back a little bit more. There you go.
And so I'm holding my foot neutral. And you can see as my foot pronates in, my kneecap, you can see turns inward a little. And it's that rotating inward of the kneecap. It's not good for your hip. You want your kneecap to track right in line. So now my foot's holding neutral, and there I'm letting it pronate in. Mm-hmm. So that's the foundation of your body. The way your foot contacts the ground is a major cause of biomechanical issues that cause pain and disability as people age.
Well, how do you decide how to place it? Is it pretty simple to guide the actual rubber inner sole that you have that you're putting on there?
Because if you set your foot on the insole, sitting before I weight bear, my foot would be comfortably in neutral position on this,
Yeah, there you go.
It's like that's what they do in ski boots. When you go to buy a pair of good ski boots, if your weight pronating in, you're going to have your ankle bone hit on the inner border of the boot, and they want to balance your foot. And they do it on some kind of machine or a computer thing that determines that actually balances you so your weight is stable and your knees bend straight ahead. In other words, the more you are in running stores, sometimes they have the ability to have these but nowadays we're talking about biomechanics. And when you're not an athlete, it's really just as important, because you get wear and tear on your joints, and you get arthritic problems from the bar biomechanics and wearing the proper footwear and the proper orthotic and all these things. And you go to a podiatrist, they make you a $500 orthotic or something. Mm-hmm. You can do it yourself better for 35 bucks on Amazon with a $3 inlet insert. Instead of paying $500, pay 35 bucks, and then you can adjust it to comfort and to making sure you're in perfect neutral alignment. Because the point is you got to micro adjust it. Maybe it's okay for a while, but then you can look and it's still, your foot still pronating on top of the orthotic. You could add a little more piece to it. In other words, it's better you're in control of that.
Okay, so my next question to you is then, I live in Florida, I'm by the water, I'm constantly in flip-flops or sandals. I hardly ever have high heel shoes at this point anymore. Right. How do I convert a sandal or a flip-flop into something a little bit more supportive of my foot?
You couldn't, you could walk properly in that by walking on the outer borders of your feet and making sure you don't pronate in the sandal. You could take, I could, but you couldn't. See, I have a grinding wheel and I have the right glues and equipment. I can
Well,
take.
you come from a long family of shoemakers, so, you know.
Well, I used to, when my father had a chain of
Yeah.
shoe stores of like 12 shoe stores, which my grandfather started in 1910. And then
Yeah.
I got a certified degree as a certified podophist to make foot appliances. But
Exactly.
in any case, yeah, I can take your sandal and glue a piece of material on it and then sand it on a grinding wheel. And I could like adjust the bottom of the sandal. You could go to a shoe repair shop or an expert shoe repair, and they can custom make the bottom of your sandal or cant it and add a piece on the inner border so it's slanted up a little bit to give you some angled support if you needed it, or even if leg length discrepancy, they could add a little piece to make one sandal higher than the other or something.
Nice.
So you could do it, but you need a professional to do it. Most people couldn't do that on their own to modify the shape of their sandal, you know what I mean? Because it can't take an orthotic.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to the subject, I just want to add here that in the classroom, we have seen your muscles, your biceps, we've seen your abs, and now we're seeing your feet. So that's pretty cool. You know, only in the Lillian McDermott radio show classroom will you get to see Dr. Fuhrman's body parts at random. We never know what we're going to get. So thank you, Dr. Fuhrman. It's always nice getting your smile in the classroom, but to get all these other body parts, that was probably my highest, where I was just like, when you just took off your shirt, showed us your abs, showed us your arms. And I was like, everybody was.
And now my feet and my toes, if even more I do.
Now we got to see your feet and your toes. Okay. So what else do you like, Dr. Fuhrman?
Well, you know, being a foodie, I want to show you make sure people have these my favorite foods. Now, my favorite food here is a Cherimoya.
What is that?
This is Cherimoya season here now. And if you ever eaten a Cherimoya, it's like the most delicious food in the world.
What is it? No, I've never. It looks familiar. It almost looks like it comes from the artichoke family.
It's a fruit and white inside.
Okay.
But this is a nice size one. But if you can grow them in Florida too, it's warm enough in Florida, you can grow them.
Cherimoya.
They're like creamy and just delicious and and then, you know, what's interesting is if you have a Cherimoya tree, they don't grow that many Cherimoyas on unless you take the makeup brush and you be like a bee and you honeybee and you put the male pollen on the female flowers and you like pollinate with a makeup brush and start helping. So I dust them and self-pollinate the tree to produce more Cherimoyas. Now this doesn't need as much pollination. This is really good too. This is an Atomoya that is easier to grow than a Cherimoya because you don't have to self-pollinate it as much. It pollinates better by its own. I like the Cherimoya a little better, but still very good. And then
but the Atomoya, okay, what would it, if you were to pick any other fruit like citrus, berries, banana, what would you say the Cherimoya resembles most?
Nothing.
Okay, so nothing.
It's pure white inside with little smooth black pits, but the flavor is very gelatinous and melts in your mouth. It's like eating white Jello.
Okay.
But
so you can make other things with it, or do you just eat it like you
want to? Because I wouldn't want to, because I'm eating the Cherimoya and I'm saying this is the most delicious dessert. I like it better than vanilla ice cream. I like it better than almost any dessert that you could make. I like this better. I don't want to play with the taste or mix it. I just want to, but you could take just the Cherimoya if you want to make chocolate. You can put a little cocoa powder just to mix it right in, just a little cocoa powder in, and make it chocolate, make it chocolatey. It's so creamy and white and smooth and delicious. It's even worth ordering some or even coming to California during Cherimoya season just to taste this and to buy it at the farmer's market. It's like it's incredible.
I'm going to get myself a Cherimoya. Okay, so let's go back to the Atomoya. So the Atomoya, it looks very similar. When I was living in Puerto Rico, that looked like maybe it was
like
called
a sweet sop.
Sweet sop, okay.
But the sweet sop is more you throw away more of it. It's more like less to eat. These are more milky, have more edible with less, they're not as many, compartments that you can't have to spit out things. But this is really delicious too. And there are different types of Atomoyas. This is anyway, I forgot the name of it, but anyway, I think it's an African Atomoya. Very good.
Okay. Now, do you eat the skin? How do you eat it? You just cut it open and pull and take the pulp out?
You just cut it open. It's a thin skin, and you just eat everything except the skin. You don't eat the skin.
Don't eat the skin. And because you know everything, vitamin, nutrition, what kind of supplements or nutrition do you get out of it? You know,
Well, all fruits have the, yeah, they have the, I don't like to say like this is high in vitamin C, this is high in this vitamin. They all have a unique, they can eat every food, natural food contains 1,000 different nutrients, that,
Okay.
and having a wide variety of foods give you different phytochemicals. And if they haven't even discovered all the nutrients in every food yet, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, you've been holding out on me. I mean, you've been coming to the classroom since 2015. This is the first time you've ever talked about the Cherimoya and the Cherimoya.
Really? First time you've even known my favorite food.
I know.
And also fresh figs are incredible too.
Figs, yes.
And you can grow them everywhere. I grew them in New Jersey in a pot and moved them in the garage in the wintertime. You got to have a fig tree, because getting a fig ripened on a tree is completely different from what you can buy in a store. Some of these, and
can you get a fig tree and put it in a potted plant? Because I'm on the 5th floor.
Yes, have a fig tree and keep it in, you can, well, it does better in full sun, but you can no place you can move it outside in full sun on a balcony during the winter, during the summertime, and move it back indoors in the winter.
Okay.
But with any property in Florida, or even a balcony, you could probably have a fig tree.
Yeah.
In a pot,
Oh yeah. It gets plenty of sun and, but okay. So good. Okay. So I'm going to have
the next
to try
thing you
that
should
one
be aware
out.
of is that dragon fruit growing like a
Oh,
cactus-like fruit. And there are different types of dragon fruits. There are like 4 or 5 varieties of red, or there's, red skin, white inside, red skin, red inside, white. But the most delicious dragon fruit is the yellow dragon fruit. And this again is harder to grow. It's a little harder to grow. That's why it's more expensive. It's much sweeter. It grows nicely. We just have to, I do sometimes self-fertilize them with a makeup brush and help the flowers propagate to boost.
How do you do that? Okay. You take a makeup brush and
I take a makeup brush, a little tiny brush, or a very good artist brush.
Okay. Something like
and
this?
I hold maybe
something this big?
No, a small
something
one.
Smaller, like a little, okay.
Like a little artist brush, like
Okay.
you use for watercolors.
Okay.
And then I would put it into the flower part, holding the top of a tennis ball can, that little black plastic covering the tennis ball can.
Okay.
So I'm knocking the pollen into the black tennis ball can, and you can see the little dots of pollen now in the can.
Okay.
And I can scoop them up like I'm paint, and I could paint the other flowers with them on the tree, and I could spread the pollen from one flower to another flower, from one tree to another tree. I can collect a lot of pollen in my tennis ball can. I can walk around to the trees and spreading pollen onto the flowers, onto the different parts of the flowers.
Okay. So there's going to be a bunch of flowers on the tree. So does it matter? Is there a particular color flower versus the pollinate?
With the Cherimoya, there is a male and a female to recognize the male and the female type flower, to go from the female. But with I don't think there isn't the dragon fruit. It's just spreading the pollen around.
It's just taking one pollen and putting it in the other.
In a different flower on a different plant.
In a different flower, and that causes it to pollinate.
Yeah, and you can see it's cut off a cactus. It grows. You could see the cactus stem that was just cut. But these are incredibly delicious. And then of course, we do grow, and I love these persimmons. And people might be aware of the difference between a Hitachi persimmon and a Fuyu persimmon. These are the flat ones that look like tomatoes. And these you can eat hard, or you can eat them soft. They don't ever get bitter. They taste good hard or soft. You can eat them when they're hard as a rock, and they still are edible. But if they soften, they get even sweeter. But these, if you try to eat them when they're a little hard, they pucker, they're inedible. You have to wait till not only the top gets soft, but it gets soft all the way to the bottom. So the whole thing becomes mushy to the point of becoming really sweet and good. And this one I picked off my tree.
Wow.
I grew them myself. Isn't this amazing?
Wow.
And what's really nice about a persimmon tree, it doesn't ripen on the tree. And it doesn't ripen until I pull it off the tree. So I can leave the ones I'm not eating, and I don't need, I can leave them on the tree another couple of months, because they won't ripen until I pull them off the tree.
Does it have an expiration date? Does it have
What's
an
that?
expiration? Does it have an expiration date?
I haven't been doing it long enough to know if I could leave it on the tree for like 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it won't ripen. But I'm leaving them on the tree. They just seem to be getting a little bigger on the tree and not ripening. So
Wow.
That's
Wow.
really cool.
It's all
And
that.
the oranges and the citrus fruits are great because they can stay on the tree for so long without getting, so they live on the tree for 6 months. Not like a peach tree where everything ripens and you gotta like eat the peaches or eat the apricots over those
Or
2 week
it's done,
period.
yeah.
There's nothing the whole rest of the year. The orange trees. And so I do have a lot of Mayway kumquat trees, which
I love your
those on your
kumquats.
patio too.
Yeah.
MEIWA kumquat, the Mayway kumquat, which is very sweet kumquat. It's not shaped like an egg like the Nigeri kumquat. It's round and small, but it's very sweet, not sour. Like people think kumquat, so they're so sour they taste like a lemon, but these are really taste phenomenal. And the fact that you eat the whole skin and the seed and eat the whole thing, you pop it in your mouth and eat them, makes it they're more nutritious than regular oranges because the skins have a huge amount of nutrients, anti-cancer nutrients in them.
Wow. Yeah. And I ate the first kumquat ever in your garden. That was
Oh,
the
really?
first time. Yeah, that was the first time I've
You
ever had a
tasted the Mayway
kumquat.
kumquat at my place.
Yes, I had the first one at your place, and it was so good. And it was a tiny tree. It was a tiny tree. It wasn't a big tree. It was like,
That's
it
because
looked like it was a baby
I
tree.
have small trees because I've only been here a few years, but
Yeah, but at the time, I mean, it was,
eventually the tree is going to get bigger and produce more fruit.
yes,
Over the
yeah.
years, the tree will get to be 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet tall.
Wow.
It's
It
just
was,
small now because they're young trees, but they still produce a lot of fruit.
yeah, I thought so too. And it was delicious. It was, sometimes when you have a young tree, like in Florida, they put pesticides in the tree and you have to throw out the first year of fruit because it has the pesticide in it. Especially this is
Right.
an organic plant. You have to spray it down with something. Like we
Yeah,
get
well,
citrus
here's the
canker.
secret though for that is that number one, I use this Espoma citrus tone is a great organic fertilizer for citrus trees. Espoma citrus tone. I use also their fertilizer for some of the other. I don't use that much of it, just a little bit. Plus, I make my own compost too. But then the secret is to make a neem oil spray that you put in a little spray bottle. Because the neem oil, I'll buy like a jar of neem oil and I'll mix it in like a tablespoon of neem oil and half a teaspoon of hand soap. And I'll put hot water in the spray bottle and I'll shake it up well. And because spraying the tree with neem oil prevents the scales and the ants and all the dangerous and all those mites and things that can damage your fruit trees, and especially citrus trees. They don't damage your fig trees. They don't damage other trees so much, but they really love the citrus trees, these insects. Mm-hmm. And the neem oil spray is non-toxic and it's not a chemical, and it works very well as a leaf polish and keeping the insects off your trees.
So
hurt the trees.
how
The
much
little
water?
scales can destroy your citrus fruit.
Yeah, yeah. How much water do you add to the 1 tablespoon of neem oil and half a teaspoon of soap? How much, or is that it?
No, that's it. Just I add the liter of water in the spray bottle and I shake it
liter.
up.
So you put the water. Okay, so 1 liter of water.
Yeah, in the spray bottle.
Okay.
And then I shake it up well. It disperses itself really well in the warm water. But now I bought this spray bottle of neem oil already made into the right. But then after, why spend the whole money on the bottle? Just buy the neem oil concentrate, and I could keep refilling up this, unscrewing the top of the bottle and keep refilling it with a little neem oil concentrate and putting the water and making your own neem oil spray. Because I also have a tree, a Meme sapote that I love that was infected with what it is? The ants come off the soil, climb up the side of the tree, and they bring the scale that then destroy the leaves and destroy the trees. The scale comes from the ants. It's like a symbiotic relationship. The ants bring them up. So you got to keep the ants off the bottom of your tree. So we we use a little bit of diatomaceous earth around the bottom of the tree so it prevents the earth. And then I sometimes wrap the bottom of the tree with a little it's a little piece of like material that a little piece of it's not tape, but it's material I tape on. And then I use something called sticky. It's what's it called? It's this sticky material. It looks like glue out of a jar, and but it's like Vaseline. And you put it on the tape or on the cloth or on the bottom of the tree, and the ants stick to it, and it prevents the ants from climbing up the tree.
Wow.
So
now, can you use some of that stuff like the neem oil as I start getting, like I've got my little seedlings coming out right now because I'm doing a garden in my it's like a high, what do you call those high rise gardens?
Like using like the grow boxes.
Yeah. And so is there anything I can use? I'm right on the water, so I just want to make sure that the birds don't get it, although I don't think I'll have a problem because they're carnivorous. And so, but is there like neem oil, would it work with some of my vegetables that I'm going to be doing?
No, you won't put neem oil on the vegetables, just in the fruit trees. It's going to make the vegetables taste bad. You
Yes.
couldn't eat the vegetables. It wouldn't taste good. It's not that
Okay.
neem oil is so toxic. It tastes terrible.
Okay. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
smelt meat. Yes, it's not good. It's not pleasant. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's a foodie wise that would help with the citrus or other plants or what?
Um, well, I do get this. I get this special type of white paint that the paint is impregnated with some kind of castor oil that the rodents and the ants don't like,
Okay.
and it prevents the winter scalding of your citrus trees. So you paint the bottom. You buy the special white paint with castor oil impregnated in it, and you just paint the bottom of the citrus trees with it, which keeps the trunks healthier and prevents from rodents and insects and things from destroying them, and keeps them from sun scalding for the bottom of the citrus trees. So it's like a protective paint. You have to drive around and see some paint on the bottom of trees, and it's a castor oil impregnated paint.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if the growers know that in Florida, because we've had some major problems with citrus in Florida for many years.
And then the other secret is, of course, is to use the wiggler worms, is to make your own compost.
Mhm.
And it's a combination of like weeds and leaves and kitchen scraps. And I use, and to use I mix a little regular dirt in there, and I put the red wiggler worms in there to compost. And also I put a little bit of
Wiggler worm?
red wigglers that are a special composting worm. They're not the big earthworms, they're little tiny earthworms that are just devour the compost. Great at making the earthworm castings and making my own soil that's so rich to plant my food in. And once I have my trees with a big hole, and the secret is to make a very deep hole and to plant the tree very high up and to make a ring so the roots don't sleep, so water drains the bottom and the roots can't get water, get water rot. When my gardeners, the people who would, if I wasn't around and somebody planted a tree for me, they always plant it too deep. And then the tree dies or doesn't do well because the water pools in the bottom. I want to make the hole really deep, plant the stock of the tree above the face of the earth. In other words, here's my soil in my orchard, and then the throat of the tree is above, a few inches above that, not below it. So I built up a little rim of rock and dirt around the tree, so it's above the general level of the soil. And then as I'm fertilizing over the years, I'm widening my donut, and then putting more fertilizer and good earthworm casting, good compost in the tree well, and making the well a little bit bigger that I water. But the trick is to start out with a very deep hole, so the roots never go down to the bottom of the hole, because you want the water to drain down below the level the roots would go.
Wow.
So the root, you don't get root water or mud soaking in the bottom of the tree well, because sometimes you have clay soil and soil that's not draining, and if the bottom of your roots are sitting in water, you're not going to have a great growth in the tree. So you make the tree hole extra deep, fill it in with good dirt, then of course we ring around and keep growing out from it with good manure and stuff.
So is the ring of rocks on the outside or inside?
No, on the top outside. So I build up the edge of the tree with a little bit of a dirt rim, and then I put the rock on that, mostly for decorative purposes.
Got it. Okay, and so then you make that rim bigger and bigger. I was just visualizing you digging up the tree and going around.
Yeah, I'm not going to dig like a 10-foot rim around a big tree, but because the tree is still small. But over the years, I'll eventually be digging out some of the trees beyond where the roots are reaching, and digging holes outside where the roots are reaching, and putting good soil and fertilizer and manure in those holes. So when the upcoming seasons, when those roots do eventually grow out further, they're going to hit that rich soil and nutrients and grow better.
Very good. Well, that's a great tip for people.
And I can dig down into where the roots are. That donut hole I built around it, and I can start to dig down in the soil till I see some roots. Just a little bit of the feeder roots start to come through. And as soon as I see a couple of little beginnings of roots, I stop digging in that way. I just go down and fill in with my better soil, because I don't want to disturb or to destroy those roots.
Correct.
I just want to build the fertilizer and good soil that gives me another space for those roots can now grow further out. You know what I mean?
Now, you put the soil, you dig deeper, and then you put the soil underneath the root system?
No, well, the roots of the tree grow outward and go down a few feet. So the roots maybe go this deep, but they go out wide for many feet. So the roots don't really grow down that way. They grow kind of down a little bit, but then grow out.
Oh,
So I'm
got it.
not going down more than a couple of feet deep. I'm just making a donut ring of only a couple of feet deep, not more than 1.5 feet probably, around the outside of the tree that I'm going to now fill in with better and better dirt, with good high quality dirt, to allow the roots that are growing mostly out to get to, not the roots that are growing down. I never dig under the tree, you know.
Now, do you have a
And then the
ground?
fertilizer and the good dirt's going to sink down and going to lower itself with time anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, because the watering is going to bring it down, you know.
Got it. Do you have somebody that's doing the groundskeeping for the Eat to Live?
I have some help,
Eat
but I
Center?
do most, but I don't do
Yeah.
I do all the fruit trees myself because they may help with some things like laying down some, but I'm mostly doing the digging of the trees and the planting of the trees and the fertilizing of the trees because I want to do it the way I want it done. And I want to do what I'm doing now, make sure it's planted at the right level. When I had other people do it for me, I had too much tree death and too many poor trees that were doing poorly because it wasn't done right, you know.
Well, it's interesting how intuitively you have you've gone to it. It's like I'm listening to this and I'm going, gosh, that's a lot of work for.
But it's
for
great
citrus.
exercise.
But it is.
The
And it's
digging in
great
the
that you
holes
can be
and whether the
outdoors.
trees. I look forward to it. I get up in the morning and say, okay, I got these things to do today, but before I get started, I'm going to maybe work on a tree for an hour and a half from 5 to 6:30 in the morning and get some exercise with my back and my, different types of that rather than hiking and swimming or tennis or running. It's a digging and moving, shoveling dirt is a different way of using your body, and it's really good for you. So it's it's a great exercise.
Or you can get Rain to dig the hole for you. I mean, because Rain could probably dig a hole better and faster than anybody right
Rain
now.
interferes with me because she doesn't leave me alone. She'll you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She'll be bugging me to play with her or do something, or she'll be going in the hole or getting in the way of the shovel or something, you know.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay, so I want to, before we continue talking some more about it, I just want to remind all of you that we're giving away 4 of the 21-day weight loss boot camp for Dr. Fuhrman that he's going to be doing starting on January 3rd to 23rd. Now, this is the PDF only, not if you want to be part of the challenge, the 21-day challenge, then you can go on to whenyounneedafriend.com and click the link on there, and then you can register to be a part of Dr. Fuhrman's 21-day challenge, the New Year challenge, the New You challenge, and really totally enjoy the book and all the recipes that everybody's going to get that joins this. But 4 of you, just text me at 407-373-5959. If you're out of the country and you don't have text, you can email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com. On Monday, December 13th, we will pick 4 names for you that will, and we will call you or text you if you are selected to be one of the winners. Everybody that says they want to change their life and they want to make a difference and become healthier for 2021 is a winner already. But 4 of you will be selected to be to win the PDF for Dr. Fuhrman. I want to encourage all of you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. While you're there, please become a subscriber. Check out all the social media, like and follow me there, especially BitChute and Odyssey, which we're trying to grow at this point. I think I need a little bit of fertilizer for BitChute and Odyssey because it is just not growing as fast as I would like for it to grow. So help us grow the classroom. There's also my favorite stuff, my little favorite bags at whenyounneedafriend.com, like from organic cleansing beauty products from head to toe. There's other things, whether it's ways to build muscle or ways to be healthy. There's so many different things. So go check out that button. It's a little shop now bag. Also my sponsor, Dr. Jennifer Gramuth, would check her out and support them as they're supporting the classroom. And last but not least, you can become a enrolled student in the classroom. So whether you can donate $1 or $1,000, please help us grow the show, whether it's time, talent, or treasure. Today, we're talking with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And as always, one of my favorite classes that we do is learn about his favorite things for the year. I mean, I've learned about, oh, by the way, I've got the little nutcracker that you showed us 3 years ago. I went out and got that little nutcracker and I love it for my macadamia nuts. Went out and bought macadamia nuts, not the ones you have, but some others, that are selling them. But, you learn about these things and like, whoa, this works for him. I'm going to give it a try too. So I love doing this with him. This has been some of the funniest moments. Dr. Fuhrman being stuck in traffic and giving me a call and doing the show from his car. I mean, we've got lots of fun memories doing these classes together. But, I just want to encourage you to, if something resonates with you, figure it out, do it, and you can go to drfuhrman.com. You can become a member in his page so that you can have a little bit more interaction with Dr. Fuhrman. And there's just so many different ways that you can, whether it's the Nutri series, go to the Nutri series and get the DVDs, or the workshops that we're planning. Do whatever it takes to get healthy for 2022. So Dr. Fuhrman, what else do you got? What else do you have up your sleeve?
Well, I'm traveling a lot, so I sometimes make food that's easy to carry with me on travels for its calories. And so one thing I like to eat is I have a dehydrator. I use the Excalibur dehydrator. So I make the tofu jerky. Like, here's a piece of tofu jerky that was an extra firm tofu sliced into a piece and then dehydrated for 15 hours. I put tomato sauce on it. I actually took tomato sauce and I mixed it with tomato paste. And I put a big glob of it on, but you can see it's pretty hard, but still rubbery.
Yes.
And who loves this, of course? Dogs love this, because you're like giving them a chewy bone that they're going to take some time to chew down. But it's the fun, because on a Nutritarian diet, you don't get something hard to chew like a bone for us. And so it's like the leathery, chewy feeling. And you can put a few of these in your pack and it lasts a long time. And then also this is, what this is, of course.
That looks like a sweet potato.
Yeah, it's a piece of dehydrated sweet potato.
Tell me more. What are you doing?
Like ricard. Well, I could feed it to my dog as a bone, but I could take it with me on a trip, and I have like a sweet potato in my bag. So I have a whole.
Now, do you eat the skin too, or do you just eat the inside?
I eat the skin too, because it's so like chewy, like eating a dog bone. It's like fun to chew when so yeah, it's like chewy.
Who doesn't like to chew on a bone?
It's in your mouth a long time. You're not going to just swallow it so fast because it's a little hard and dried out.
And listen, if you wear your helmet, no one will see you chewing.
Yeah, and you have your dog food with you, and you have food for yourself at the same time. I do feed my dog the same food. I can eat the dog food because I feed him a lot of the food I eat me. I always say my dog is the only dog with his own personal chef, meaning me. I'm his personal chef. I take the food and I mix it in the blender. I'll blend the soybeans and the hemp seeds and the avocado. I'll put anything in there and I'll blend it up and But I make him some stuff he really loves, which is like the hard stuff too,
Yeah, but you eat that. You eat the tofu. So what else do you put in your tofu? Is it plain, or do you season your tofu as well? Like, I like to do the curry, like more of an Indian curry or a garlic.
Well, if I'm making tofu in a vegetable dish, I can put like a Thai curry sauce on it. But this is just, you can do with nothing on it, just to make a hardened piece of tofu that's like a rock that you can chew it. And how much you cook it is depending on how soft or hard it gets.
And how long did you cook that one, and what temperature did you cook it in?
I always cook it at 120 degrees, between 115 and 120. And I go usually for 15 hours on it to get it just a little bit hard. And then I can give the pieces that were thin and got too hard, I'll give to the dog. And I might pull some out at 14 hours or 13 hours. My wife likes it a little softer sometimes. But, and then if we're dehydrating fruit that's left over, we have how when bananas ripen, you have too many ripe bananas ripening, you can freeze them. But we also dehydrate them, because they're so much better when you dehydrate your own fruit. Because when you buy dried fruit in the supermarket, it's too dry, it's too hard, like a rock, like dry banana. But when you dehydrate it yourself, you can make it so it's just partially dehydrated. So it still has some chewy softness to it. And it's the most delicious way to eat a banana, is half dehydrated. And when you take the banana, that's shaped like a moon, right? And you cut it down the center, slice it down lengthwise. And you can cut it in half and slice it lengthwise. So when it's sitting on the dehydrator, it has the bottom curled side with the flat side on top, the curl side on the curve on the bottom. So it won't stick to the dehydrator. If you make a flat piece stuck down, it's hard to peel it off the dehydrator. It sticks to, but if you make the curl side down, the contact between the banana and the dehydrator, so the air circulates around it better. So it dehydrates nicer.
So if this is the banana has a natural slope, right? So you're cutting the banana this way, or you're cutting it in half this way?
Right. So we don't want to make slices of the banana with little tiny pieces on it. We want to make the banana have take a whole long sliver of the banana and cut it down the center of the banana. So the edge of the banana, you can see, has this round base here. You see the round base?
Yeah.
And at the round base, the flat top is on top. The round base, you have this long piece of banana there with a round base, and you let that round base sit on the dehydrator.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
When you're making fruit on the dehydrator, take the round portion of the fruit and put that on the dehydrator itself, and the flat portion that you cut the fruit from sits up on the air
Got
portion.
it. Okay. Okay. That's a great. So any fruit that you do, you
Any
want to
fruit.
have
If you're
minimal.
dehydrating peaches or nectarines, don't put them stone side down, put them skin side down, so the open flesh part is sitting up. So the skin keeps the circulation around the bottom and keeps,
Now, do you have a certain amount of time that you do? So you basically do 120 on your fruits, or it's just for the turkey?
No,
the
I usually
jerky?
do it on 120 most of the time, because you don't want to go above 120, then you're cooking the food. We just want to dehydrate the food, not
Okay.
cook it.
Yeah, we had somebody, Marcus Rothkrantz, and he said that sometimes, when you set it on 120 Excalibur, or that
Right.
it's really not that high, and that you can maybe put it up a little bit higher. Have you noticed that?
No, you don't need to. It works great on 120.
Okay, so it
don't-
it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
What are you
And
eating
then, of
now?
course-
What are you eating?
I'm eating a piece of this tofu.
Oh, is it good? Now, when you put do you wait until it's hard to put the tomato sauce on it, or you do it all at the same time?
No. I cut this tofu. Like, I have a block of extra firm tofu,
Mm-hmm.
and I sliced it so the edge with the face with the biggest, I could get 5 pieces out of one block.
Correct.
I lay it on my dehydrator, aligned side to side, pushed against each other. So they're not each one individual, they're spaced against each other.
Okay.
So I can then put tofu, I can put a lot of tomato sauce right over the whole thing, like a
Okay.
giant pan of tomato sauce. But the tomato sauce gets too runny. So you mix the tomato sauce with tomato paste to thicken it. Then I can get a thicker, like this amount of tomato paste was really thick, and it shrunk itself down to give it onto the tofu as it's dehydrated to make it really tasty. There's incredible flavor, because there's so much dehydrated tomato sauce on this,
But if you put like spices like fennel and rosemary and garlic, and these are powders, onion powder, pepper, you can get more of a pepperoni taste, more like a little pizza there. I don't know.
This is like a tofu pizza. You can make any flavor you want.
Yeah.
You can mix those spices into the sauce.
Yeah.
As the sauce dehydrates, but don't forget, it's going to become concentrated. Don't want to overspice it.
Correct.
And then, of course, we make kale chips, or I call them green chips, because I might use the pea leaves or the collard leaves, the kohlrabi leaves, the broccoli leaves, or whatever I have in the garden. I'm going to put in the leaves, and I'm going to mix it with the sauce made with some hemp seeds, cashews, apple cider vinegar, and a little nutritional yeast. And of course, we have our non-fortified nutritional yeast. It's important to be non-fortified, because folic acid increases risk of cancer. So we have that non-fortified nutritional yeast. If people can't find them locally, we have it on the website at drfuhrman.com.
Yeah.
And then so it gets a great cheesy flavor. The trick is that when you're buying kale chips or green chips in a store, they're so dried out and dehydrated, so they have a long shelf life. We sell kale chips, but they're not as good as when you make it yourself in the dehydrator, because we can make it not so dry. We can make it so there's still they're dried out, but there's some softness left to it. So they're still crispy, but they still have some meatiness to them. And they're not so like paper thin, because they're not overly dehydrated. So I particularly like that I can make my own green chips and make them partially dehydrated and not so extremely dehydrated compared to a commercial chip. It's much more enjoyable eating it on your salad.
Yeah.
And so I'll make like partially dehydrated bananas and partially dehydrated fruit. The extra fruit of a tree, there's a lot of fruit, you then partially dehydrate it, which increases the flavor and increases so that it's not going to go rotten or go bad,
Very good. That's a very good tip. I've always been intimidated by dehydrating. I don't know why. And I have an air fryer that is also a dehydrator, and you can adjust the temperature from like 90 to 400. And now that I've been doing air fries and doing things like that, now I feel more comfortable. My grandson is coming over. My grandson, well, my granddaughter's like almost 1, but my grandson who's 5, he and I are going to dehydrate because he loves dehydrated strawberries and bananas. And I'd rather give him that than give him junk stuff that.
Oh, it's incredible. The
Yeah.
dehydrated stuff is incredible. And you can partially dehydrate. Of course, if you don't dehydrate enough, then you have to keep it in the refrigerator because it's not going to have as much shelf life unless it's more dry.
How do you know it's done? Because it doesn't stick?
Well, it's how you like it. You know, you can try it at different levels of softness and dryness based on how you prefer it. You know what I mean? Some people, but I like it so it's not to make it so dried out. So I like so they're like 3/4 dehydrated and there's still some moisture left in them, you know?
Yeah, but those need to go in the refrigerator is what you're saying, because you don't want to let them out because it will go
They can
bad.
stay out for a week or two, but not forever. Whereas
Yeah.
regular dried fruit, you can leave it out forever because there's no moisture to prevent mold formation, you know?
Got it. Okay, what else do you have up your sleeve, Dr. Fuhrman?
I don't know.
Watch him pull a rabbit. Well, you know, in the past, you've talked about sunscreen, protective hats. You love your, you know, I
love my teeter hang up. It's hanging upside down is great for your back and your spine too.
Your teeter hang up?
Yeah, you lock your feet into it and you tilt it upside down and you hang upside down on it and do exercises like sit-ups upside down or at a really good tilt, you know, but it's really good. You know, I noticed that in figure skating, when you'd spin on the ice, when you're so used to spinning, you wouldn't get that dizzy because your brain builds up the connective tissue. But now that I had to hardly ever skate, if I spin on the ice, I'm like dizzy for like minutes, you know, for like, I got to sit there and stand still for a couple minutes to get my bearings back. Yeah. It's the same thing when I started doing the teeter hang up, you would feel the blood in your face and you would feel like in your sinuses or in your brain, you'd feel the blood rushing down. But now that you do it all the time, you don't feel it anymore. Because you build up, you strengthen the connective tissue to the brain. And my theory is that strengthening the connective tissue so you can hang upside down without getting the feeling of blood rushing has got to be protective against hemorrhagic stroke and strengthen the bone's resiliency as it ages against the fragility. Certainly, if you hang upside down and you're a person over the age of 80 with high blood pressure and bad health, maybe the hanging upside down could be dangerous. But if you start doing it when you're younger and in good health, it could be maintain the youthful strength of the brain, you know, matrix and connective tissue that prevents the pressure from damaging brain cells. So I'm thinking it's healthy to hang upside down, especially if you start doing it regularly when you're younger, you know?
Yeah, we'll ask Count Chocula, huh? Count Chocula loves to hang upside down because he has so many preservatives. But oh no, actually, you do have these vibration plates as well on your website too.
Right, so and that helps me with my.
While you're vibrating, that's not as good for you?
Oh yeah, like I step on and off the plate with one leg. That's like a step up. I'm on one leg now, and I'm stepping down off the plate and onto the plate with one leg, like for a full 30 seconds, maybe 25 times in a row, and then I'll step with the other leg up and down on off, you know, up and.
You're doing going up
like
and down instead of doing squats. In other words, your foot is not on top of the and you're just squatting.
The took is on top of the plate. I'm standing on one leg.
Okay.
And I'm dangling my free leg off the end of the plate.
Got it.
So when I bend, I can touch my heel lightly to the ground, measuring how low I'm going to bend, and back up to stand up on the plate while it's vibrating. So I'm doing one leg half squats, one leg minor squats, one leg at a time on the vibrating plate. And then I'm jumping from the ground onto the plate and jumping off the plate and jumping onto the plate. And as I jump onto the plate, and then I jump off the plate, I touch my hands to the ground, jump onto the plate, stand up, jump off the plate, touch my hands to the ground. So it gets my back involved. I'm working out, so like almost like a squat thrust.
Yes.
So you're bending down and standing back up again on the plate. I'm doing that because I want to work my back and my core, because when I'm skiing and doing moguls all day and enjoying myself on the slope, so I'm not fit enough with my back and my core, and used from jumping and bending all the time, you're going to like come off the back, you're not going to be able to handle it, you're going to hurt yourself. Yeah. So so my skiing keeps me like motivated to not to get hurt while I'm skiing, to train all the time, to keep my body fit enough so I can do that kind of mogul and advanced skiing without getting hurt or getting too, getting an injury or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. It's awesome. You know, when I was 16 years old, I had to stop dancing because I didn't have hardly any cartilage on my knee. And I see people all the time getting, knee surgery because they don't have cartilage in their knee. Well, I was 16 when I was diagnosed with that. And the doctor at the time said, you're too young for knee replacement surgery. You're too young for that. But here's a tip. Keep your muscles strong around your knee and you'll never have to do surgery. And that's what I've done. And so can you add anything to that?
Well, we did earlier. We talked about how that when the weight from your foot is architecturally putting weight on the inside border of your knee and not the outside, you're going to have more arthritic degeneration because of pronation. And it sounds like that you are pronated and you thought that it was due to going on point, but I'm saying it's probably also somewhat genetic. And by straightening out your gait and keeping your foot more level will keep the weight balanced, even so you're not twisting when you walk and you're not getting too much weight on the inside of your knee. So you don't get uneven wear and tear. So getting your foundational structure better and as well as strengthening and flexibility. And don't forget, lastly, which I should mention, is standing up on a board that has a slant in it to stretch your calf and to use a pulse gun, because the pulse, one of the guns I have is a power plate pulse gun, because when you run and you exercise and you climb and you do all the things I do, your calves get tight and you get cramps at night or your calves hurt. So keeping your foot in alignment and stretching your calf where you're standing on a board that's a slant board for your calf, so you're flexing your calf, and as well as using the vibration gun on your thigh and your calf to keep those muscles flexible and soft. So that combination of working on your muscles makes it so you can tolerate the high degree of exercise and activity to prevent you from getting spasm or getting too sore in those muscles,
Very
or waking
good.
up in the middle of the night with a cramp or something.
Yeah, I hate those cramps. But they do happen once in a while. Now, I thought it was low magnesium or, so the cramps
Not
are just
for us, because when you eat an American diet with all that salt, you pee out so much of the sodium, and then when you lose the sodium, you lose other minerals with the excess sodium you're removing. We have a low sodium diet, so we're not losing electrolytes in our urine. We're keeping on. We eat enough magnesium and potassium in our food, and because we're not using salt, we're not going to be losing those electrolytes.
Got it.
So when we get a cramp, it could be from dehydration, overuse. It's not usually from lack of magnesium. But a person on an American diet, they're going to be electrolyte deficient because when they sweat and they exercise, they're losing electrolytes through their sweat. We're not losing electrolytes through our sweat because our sweat is not eliminating a lot of extra sodium. Our sweat is kind of tastes watery and doesn't even taste salty because we're not on a high salt diet. So we're not going to have that tremendous negative effects of exercising in the heat. So on a Nutritarian diet, we can tolerate the heat better, we can sweat more and not become, and we can rehydrate with just water. We don't have to take in, any kind of electrolytes to rehydrate because we're not losing electrolytes like a regular person eating a standard diet, or more risk of having these problems develop.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really good. It's every time I speak to you, there's even more and more benefits to being a nutritarian. And people have asked me all the time, am I vegan? Am I not vegan? I always say I'm a nutritarian. I focus on nutrients, and you can choose whatever you want to do, and you could still be a nutritarian when you're whole food plant-based, whether you want to have a little bit of animal products or if you want to be mostly whole food plant-based. I love the flexibility, Dr. Fuhrman, that you've not only offered me, but all the people that have joined the nutritarian movement to become healthier for their life.
And every diet is illogical. People always want to believe that their diet that's not as healthy is healthier than one that's healthier. Let me say that one more time, as stupid as this sounds. Let me be clear here. People could write this down. A diet that's healthier is healthier than one that's less healthy. A diet that's healthier is healthier than one that's less healthy. Healthy. That sounds so stupid, but everybody wants to think that their diet that's not as healthy is just as good. Doesn't that want to convince you? Oh, you could do this, you could do that. You don't have to do that, or you could just eat this food, or just live on rice, or just eat fruit diet, or just have it's not so bad if you eat, 4 ounces of animal products a day, or it's not so bad. They're always trying to make some modifications to make it not as good, but it's not going to be as healthy. If you want to do it, then you're not going to have as good an outcome,
Yeah. Well, I am very grateful to you for putting it all together for us. We've taken 40 years more of your research and passion for nutrition. And now we can learn how to do this really quickly. You've had so many wonderful cookbooks. I love the Eat to Live, Quick and Easy. I love the chocolate cream pie in there. It's one of the things that I usually have in my dinner parties, and people come here and looking forward to it. But, you know, also for those of you who would like to join the challenge, I have a link in my website at whenyouneedafriend.com. You can click it, just go in the shop now bag. You can click it, it'll take you to Dr. Fuhrman's site and the information. But 4 of you, you need to text me at 407-373-5959. Let me know that you are ready to take your health back. And whenyouneedafriend.com, if you want to email me if you're out of the country. So anybody can participate in this, whether you're out of the country or you're in the United States, you can participate because it's a PDF and I can email it to you. So 4 of you are going to be, all your names are going to go into the winner's basket, and 4 of you will win an opportunity to the 21 days weight loss boot camp PDF. And just remember, you can go join the January 3rd to the 23rd Nutritarian Challenge boot camp for the new year, right? What can you tell us a little bit about that one, Dr. Fuhrman?
Yeah, that's right. You know, at least once a year, we run a weight loss boot camp. It's a detox boot camp where we, with lectures and food addiction counseling and, you know, the whole thing, we keep in contact with people. They have support groups and communication and ability to ask questions. And so they're really trying to support them, because it's only, you know, the whole point is only with, you know, abstinence from all those trigger foods and really staying with this strictly, because it makes it easier to do it. And you can't, you know, and doing it for the full 20 days really helps people stay on. And last time we did this, I think we had 50 people that lost more than 50 pounds. Imagine 50 people losing more than 50 pounds. Totally amazing. Oh, and don't forget did you ever try my daughter's dessert cookbook?
Yes, it's delicious. Okay. Yes.
Isn't that incredible?
I actually now have canned milk, coconut milk in my refrigerator, because the last time you guys were on about this, you have to have some form of preparation where you keep the coconut cream in the refrigerator, and then you're ready to pop it open and do whatever it is.
It's great for some holiday get-togethers to make some really great tasting desserts that are like a little more effort, but it's such a beauty to show people that, you know, as a nutritarian, we're not eating sugar, salt, and oils, but we're making things taste so delicious that you don't have to, there's no reason to have a more unhealthy when you can make something so delicious and look so beautiful and be for any person at a party. You know what I mean? So we're all enjoying life and increasing people's happiness and pleasure in life, and getting rid of the fear of disease, and you can be healthy and happy and get pleasure from eating. And there's no reason to eat conventionally and take all those risks.
And as you were saying that, Dr. Fuhrman, I just realized you just had a birthday, and I did not send you a text because it was a busy, crazy time for me, but I thought of you. So happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm 68.
68. My goodness.
How annoying it is to have all these hundreds of people calling me. I'm saying, like, call me on my birthday. Well, thanks a lot. Please, people, stop calling me already. I want to have some fun today. I want to pick up the phone all day long. Stop texting and calling me on my birthday. No,
don't you love those? Don't you love those? You just pick them up later on. You just do it whenever you're done having fun. Right. Dr. Fuhrman, is there anything else that you would like to say before we finish today's class about whether it's the must-haves or the motivation to live a healthy life, whatever it is that you want before we go?
No, it's just that I want people to recognize that this is a unique opportunity in human history, that we can live healthier than ever before. We have so much knowledge to make life more pleasurable, to live without fear of disease, to not get cancer, heart attacks, strokes, or dementia, and to put it together in this nutritarian dietary portfolio with supplemental recommendations to complement it appropriately, to make sure people are really protected and can live life without fear. And fear of getting sick, and fear that permeates the medical profession is such an anti-health message. You get, you know, go in to get mammograms, and you're then checked up, and tests and blood tests and checkups, and keep taking, you know, and taking pills, and, you know, and keep worrying about disease all the time is not good for you. So it sets people free. It puts them back in control of their own health destiny, and makes them more peaceful and compassionate and more confident in their body's ability, their own body, and live their life long and healthy and protected and enjoy themselves more. So enjoy your holidays and enjoy the New Year's, but keep your health first, because, why would we self-destruct? Why would we incur in taking foods that we know are detrimental to their own best interest?
Yeah.
So we can have all the fun in the world taking in food that's not going to destroy our health. And that's what I'm hoping that you guys listening will do.
Wonderful. And Dr. Fuhrman, I want to wish you happy holidays for you and your family, and all the people that you take care of at the Eat to Live Retreat Center, and that you will be challenging pretty soon on January 3rd through 23rd with the boot camp that you're doing. Is it a detox boot camp or just a regular weight loss boot camp?
We call it a detox weight loss boot camp, or a boot, but it's all similar,
I'll check it out at whenyouneedafriend.com. When you go through whenyouneedafriend.com, it helps out the classroom. And Dr. Fuhrman knows that it's come from him being in the classroom as well. So, but thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman. You're an amazing man. I absolutely adore you. I think that what you're doing in the world is so significant and life-changing to so many people, and you're keeping people from surgeries, and you're keeping people from medications that are making them sick. So well done, Dr. Fuhrman. I'm so excited that you're part of the classroom. So thank you so much for tuning in today. You know what to do. So text 407-373-5959, and also you can email as well. We'll pick your names out on Monday. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Make the decision to eat as healthy as you possibly can through the holidays and beyond. And please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Mwah.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.